Hey, it's Chessie from Squeegee, and in this video I'm going to show you how we took this raster image and turned it into a vector image ready for screen printing. We're working with an artist called Kate Nash, and she has made 3 different designs for us that we're collaborating with her on for the range of t-shirts in the Blind Maggot shop, and she has created them in Procreate, and the files are technically quite small and they include some details in there such as like halftones and gradients that we might need to take out to make it more cohesive. The great thing about using Fresco, which is what I'm going to use to change her images from raster into vector, is that once you have those vector images, they can be used across lots of different print methods. So screen print, and we're also going to be able to scale the images down quickly and make them into stickers. I'm going to be able to make artwork for screens and for digital screens in the shop, and even signage. And another really great thing about it is that I'm going to be able to really quickly change the colours in the designs so that I can use the Pantones, which I mix in the studio, for when I'm actually screen printing the colours. So there's lots of advantages for making and doing this little step. By the way, Kate has given us permission to adapt her artwork into something that is just in 6 colours, because we're going to be screen printing on our press back there, and we're just going to do a 6 colour of each of the 3 designs. So I'm going to go ahead and use Adobe Fresco and get started. I've already opened up Adobe Fresco and I'm using an Apple Pencil in my iPad to redraw over Kate's artwork. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a artboard that is the same as the maximum print area for the screen printing. So therefore I'm going to make a custom size. I like to work in centimeters because I don't know how many pixels wide my platen is. I'm going to do 35 centimeters wide, 50 tall, and I'm just going to put it at 300. We're working in vectors, but say if you had a variation of pixels as well, that's why that pixel size could be important at some point. I like to make the background white, and actually these designs are going on white t-shirts, which is handy as well. I'm going to create my document. Then I'm going to pull in the artwork that I've been provided by Kate, which is in these photos and it's in my imports. Basically, I'm going to stretch this image out, but first I kind of just want to get rid of all of the stuff around it. I'm just going to redraw this little section. So in order to kind of adapt it, I'm going to click on the layer and convert it to pixels, and I'm literally just going to eraser out some of it so that I can stretch it out again and make it nice and big. Nice big brush. Quite a basic way of doing it, but it works. Okay, and then I'm going to just go to the transform, zoom out a bit and make it roughly that kind of print size that I'm used to working at. Then I'm going to press done, and I'm also going to turn the opacity down a bit so I can see where I'm drawing. I'll go for about that, and then I'm going to lock this layer so I don't mess around with it. There you go. The first thing I'm going to work on is doing the line work, because it has these really nice gradients and areas here, but I'm literally going to flatten this out to be much more basic. I'm going to use a vector brush, which is the 3rd one down, and it's literally it's called basic brush. So I'm just going to quickly choose my line width. I'm just going to draw in black. So it's a little bit small. Let's go a little bit bigger, just to match this. Too big. Slightly smaller. And I'm going to try and stick to this line weight throughout so that it's nice and cohesive. That looks perfect. Okay. Let's think about where I'm going to start. I think these glasses are screaming out to be drawn first. So you can just really quickly rotate this. It's not locking it in terms of the placement, it's just locking it in terms of I'm not going to be messing with it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this out. I've got my smoothness right the way up as well. Let me show you that. It's here. I've got my smoothing right up here. But say if you did want to do a straight line, see, like this is quite wobbly. If you just hold on at the end, it makes it into a straight line. It's just a nice little thing to know about. And if you double tap, it gets rid of the line, just in case you've done it wrong, which I will do a few times. Also with this type of thing, because it's going to be coloured in at some point, it's very important that the lines meet up so that I can use the paint bucket tool later to hopefully quickly fill in all of those line works so I can get all my fill colours perfect, because when it comes to screen printing it is a stencil based thing, so I need nice block colours to work with. The funny thing about doing this is it might come across like I'm actually doing this artwork, but I'm not a very good artist, but this is basically just tracing it out and simplifying, and the decisions that I'm making are just to make a simplified version of what Kate's already drawn, but it's a handy skill to know so that you can actually like start adapting artworks to be screen printable. And you can just add in some really cool little features. Like for example in the hair later, I'm going to show you how I'm going to adapt this to actually come out like this when I start using strokes and things in my black layers. But it's obviously just experience when you come to screen printing as to know what is useful in an artwork and what you need to see. So that's blocked in. I really like how you can see her face through this little bit of the glass as well in the glasses, so I'm going to pop that in. Okay, I'm going to work on the earrings next. These are quite fun. So I've got to think about how many sections I'm going to do this in. I'm going to have the goldy bits, the black outline, and yeah, I'm going to make this a couple of different tones. Then I'm just going to make little sections where I feel the colours are going to segment. I've just noticed all my layers are really transparent, so I'm going to click and hold this layer and drag it up to the top. I don't know how I didn't spot that before. Also, I've gone over a little bit there, so if I just hold down this button, it changes the use of the pen tool a little bit, so I can just cut in and kind of get rid of that little mistake. Also going to include the nose ring because it's in a similar colour, so I like to work in like blocks of colour. It's going to be cool. I could do a little beauty mark, but that would be using too much artistic integrity for this. The next cool bit I'm going to do is probably this bow in the hair because it's again a little isolated area. Then I'm going to go in and throw in all these shapes for the hair. So this bow is relatively easy to block out quickly. That's going to be cool for the hair, the bow. Then the next parts that are going to be quite cool to draw that are kind of on the forefront of the image are these kind of flames. So because they're two-tone at the moment, I don't want to lose that use of like the orange and the red. So I'm thinking about doing a red layer and then an orange layer just offset to the side of it to kind of give the same like colours and things, but let's just see how it works anyway. So I'm going to draw around this, then copy it over. I think over here I'm going to allow the flame to come out of this board. Again, that's me making a little bit of an artistic choice and not just vectorizing it, but I think it will look good and be a bit more dynamic around this frame. I think to visualize this I might need to color it in. So I'm going to colour it in just any old orange for a second. I typically draw these little elements on their own separate layers, but as it comes to it I've been drawing these ones on one layer, which means that I need to kind of isolate this little flame, double it up and offset it. So I'm going to choose the lasso tool very roughly like this, it will find it. And then I'm going to say duplicate selection. And then I can bring out this one here. Then I'm going to just press done. I'm going to pop in some colour, for example some red. I'm going to change these colours later, but it tends to find colours that are already in the reference image anyway, so it's quite handy for now to kind of roughly see what I'm doing. Then I can move it. I think I want the red on top and I want the black, the orangey bits. Maybe just like this. It's very slightly offset like this. Just looks a little bit more dynamic than having a flat orange section, and kind of keeps some of the colours a little bit more naturally. I've actually just spotted if I keep little lines like that, they might fill in when I add a stroke to the red, so let's just go back slightly. So I don't have too many gaps here. That's a good placement for that. Then I'm going to draw these flames, but I'm going to do these ones on their own layer so I don't have to think about lassoing them. So just new layer here. Just go back to my drawing, pick the black, and then I'm going to kind of make up where I think these flames are going to end. So for this one, if these are all connected, which they are, then I can just duplicate the whole layer. So I'm going to select this top layer and fill it in as red quickly. Then this one underneath, if I move that one out of the way, then you can actually see the one underneath. Let's pop them over here for a second. Fill in my orange. Boop. Grab my red again and then just have it like this. If I was to hold down this button, what it will do is it will keep it will keep it on a level plane. So I want it a bit like this. But again, I don't really want these little holes showing up where they're offset like this. I kind of want them to be a bit more overlapping. So that's pretty cool. This is a little bit more dynamic. Okay, now I'm ready to make some big decisions, which is to do with the hair. So there's lots going on here. There's solid areas going into half tones and then going into line work. And then this is mainly solid, but it does have some details coming out from underneath the hair. And then there's even white areas in the hair. Because the t-shirt is going to be white, I do need to overemphasize all of the white areas, because I'm going to be adding a stroke to the black layer, which is going to eat into those white layers. So when I'm drawing this, you might think I'm overdoing all the white sections, but it'll make sense when I actually come to print it. So I'm over exaggerating at this point, all those little sections. So I'm going to start bulking out where the hairline is going to be. And it's going to be a bit ruthless, but here we go. So if I draw a loose line here, I'm going to make a frame box afterwards which kind of covers this, but if I just make sure it's linking, you can actually do it quite wavy. As long as you end there, it'll find that straight line for you, which is quite fun. Then again, this, I'm going to choose this one to be quite solid, and then I'm going to allow this one to be just strands of hair. So this solid section, it's quite tricky, because I'm going to have to make some of the hair go behind this text potentially, but then I want some of the hair to kind of go over the text. I'm going to just see how this comes out. So I'm not going to follow this over the T because it will be too much blocking the text. So I might just bring some strands over the text in a minute. And then for this, I don't really want this rounded off line that I'm using with this brush tool, so I'm going to change into a taper. And what I want to do is actually start the lines in her face and then I'm going to come out so they're a little bit more natural, because if I start here, they're too thin, whereas I want them to already be a really good width and then end thin like tapers. So I'm just going to try and pick out these where I think they would have gone, kind of semi parallel to each other. I wonder if I should make those bigger. I'm going to just make these a tiny bit fatter to kind of compensate for the taper that's happening. There's so many different brushes and things that you can use, even for vectors, but often what I'm trying to do is segment areas and make areas that are going to be filled in with colour. So that's more of an artistic preference than what I'm used to doing. I'm just going to change back to my brush. If I make this line here, where her face was going to be, and what I can do is, if I hold this down until it's got the blue edge around there, I can just zip through all of these and it chops them off. That's my most favourite feature of this. So I have to make sure I go back to just normal again, hold it down. It's kind of like the third feature of that button. I'm going to fill in these as well. The same with the kind of like holding down the line and waiting for it to go sharp. The same kind of thing happens with circles, and this is a nice little circle, so I could just throw it in. Then if I wait, then it will boop, neaten it up for me. Not great, but it's okay because it'll just do it for me. Put them in. Right, so we're still not really done on the hair, but I need to put these chunky bits in then make them a bit more transparent so I can see where the highlights were going to be, and I'm going to draw them really roughly in white. And it's gonna, again, like, it's gonna look not great, but when it's screen printed, when it's had a little bit of a stroke added to that black, you have to trust me, it's going to be good. Before I colour in my black areas, I'm going to put them on their own layer because I'm going to have to change the transparency of them to see where all the highlights in the hair is going to be. So if I select all the drawn layers and set them as reference, then I can fill in these areas, and when I come to do the paint bucket, it's going to ask me whether I want to have them as pixels or vectors. So I want to fill in as vectors as well. And that one's already selected it for me. I kind of clicked it twice. So I'm going to fill in these big bulky areas of hair. And then obviously these look way too severe, but now I'm going to turn the opacity down. And I'm going to draw another layer on top, which is going to kind of allow me to see where the highlights are going to be. So I'm going to change the brush again to this nice taper, and I'm going to set the brush as white. So in the actual artwork, I'm not screen printing white ink, but it's going to allow me an extra layer to be able to see where the t-shirt colour is going to shine through in the end. So I actually want this quite fat in a couple of bits, so I need to up the brush layer quite a lot, probably like there. I'm going to throw in this white. So that one's a really big one, and then I need to, again, I need to way over exaggerate these kind of like lines. I'm just going to try and do it relatively quickly. Do something here because it's a huge block of ink when we come to screen print it, so you can just ease off how much ink is actually going down, which is quite a nice thing to be able to manipulate. That looks less crazy and my eye isn't drawn to it so much anymore. I'm now ready to put in the face. I'm going to start with the eyes, and then I'm going to draw the jawline and in the nose, and then we can start putting in a little bit more areas of colour and throw in this hoodie as well. And then it's going to come to figuring out what is happening with this eye makeup, because I really want to keep something on that, but I can't have this graduated tone because it won't fit in with the other aspects of what I'm doing. So I'm going to pop back into my round brush so that the line weight and how I'm treating the lines in here kind of stays similar. I'm going to put in her rosy cheek kind of eye makeup, which means I'm going to pull this layer over that one. So I'm going to draw on a separate layer for this because I need to kind of see where it fits and I want it to fall underneath the glasses and things. So I'm going to select the brush again and do this one. I can do quite a big oval, like I'm going to do it in the red actually that I'm going to use just so I can see it against the other colours. I know that's rough, but if I wait and then I can even pull the size and the angle, which is really good. And I think I actually want to make it quite big. I want to encapsulate this whole eye. I think that's pretty cool. Maybe slightly, no, I think that's good. Let's put the fill in it. Let's drag it down just to check that it's going to be good, which it is. So I'm going to undo that. Then I'm going to do the other one. So this one, I kind of wanted to follow this whole nose line here. I might get rid of that. I think that's an extenuation of the nose line. It's not actually the eyebrow. So I'm going to get rid of that little line. So it's on this layer, so it doesn't throw me off. Then I'm going to go back to this layer and put in the cheek. So I want to kind of go quite big like this. Even though that's not a perfect shape, it will still neaten it up for me. That's going to be cool. I'm going to drag my cheeks makeup under there. Does that look good? I think so. I might move both of them actually just to the right a little bit and up very slightly. Because they're on their own layer, it's not too hard to do. And then I need to not make her all red, I just need to chop this little area off here. So I'm just going to use the eraser. Make sure I'm on the cheeks. Nice. Then while I've got this red in the paint bucket, I'm going to just pop in the lips on the right layer. That looks cool. Then I might as well merge my cheeks if I'm happy with them, which I am. I'm going to merge them together. So pop these together like this, and then I'm going to start colouring in the face because I'm pretty sure all those lines will link up now. I'm just going to throw in a pink just for now. It's cool. I'm going to pop in my greys for the hoodie as well. If it looks like I'm being a bit willy-nilly with the colours at the moment, I'm not. I'm just trying to block in, and then I'm going to select everything that is grey and then make it a Pantone that references all the other Pantones that I'm going to use across all three images. So this is just visually to make sure that I've drawn everything in. While I'm here, I'm going to pop in all of these colours into the earrings as well. I'm going to finish up by framing the image, so this rectangle that it's sitting in, and I'm going to frame around this text and then put in some text as well. So it's quite simple to do actually, text, especially when it's like this. So you don't have to place all the letters individually, you can just type downwards, which is quite handy. But for now, I'm going to throw in these boxes. Again, I'm going to be quite loose and then it will tighten it up for me. That looks cool. Now I'm ready to do this type layer. Again, I like to do type on its own layer because it just acts in a slightly different way. If I hold down, I'm going to start with the vertical type tool. If you select it, then you can select the keyboard, and then I can pick my little keyboard, show keyboard, and I can just type up blind maggot. So I want it all in capitals. So I'm just going to do the blind. If I'm honest, I do prefer making text in Illustrator, but it's okay. I can manipulate this how I want for now anyway. So when I've sorted out the scale, this font I actually want to be this gang of 3. My font layer up here, make it fit in the bounding box. Then if I make a duplicate of it, bring that one over here, then I can just type maggot out here, which is obviously the name of our clothing brand. That looks pretty cool. Right, let's take off this layer completely so we can see what we've done up to this point. Just delete it. It looks pretty cool. There's only one tiny little bit of face that I haven't filled in, and then we're done. As you can see, I've made it as simplistic as I can. That means that I've limited it to the 6 colours in our colour palette so that I can print it on my press using just 6 screens. I've taken out the halftones and gradients and made it flat while trying to maintain as much as Kate's artistic flair as possible. So I'm ready to export this now, and I can just press this kind of arrow button up here, and I don't want to do the quick export, I want to do the publish and export so that I can pick a PDF. That will still maintain all the vectors and it will be great for what I'm trying to do in a second, which is going to be separating out the layers. My file name is literally just Kate and the format I've chosen is the PDF. If I press export, I can save it to my files, or I can literally just airdrop it over to my Mac, but I'll be good and save it to my files. Save it on my desktop and we're all good. If you'd like to use Adobe Fresco and create your own vector artwork for t-shirt printing like this, then I've left a link in the description for the Adobe Creative Suite, and there you'll find a discount but also a free trial. And if you use one of our links, it really helps the channel and means that I can carry on creating videos like this. In our experience, using Adobe Fresco is by far the best app to use if you're somebody who's used to using a pen and pencil. This is because the vector brushes are really, really good, and you're just going to be able to find that when you've created your artwork, you're going to be able to do print jobs and scale it across lots of different media very, very quickly. And it's also going to save you money when it comes to print, because you won't have to spend time adapting your artwork. When it comes to screen print, having it as flyers, or even if you get famous one day, blowing it up to the size of a billboard, it will still maintain all its clarity. So now our artwork is complete, I'm ready to start screen printing these t-shirts. We've just finished printing this round of shirts and we're really happy with how they've come out. This was a 6 colour that I drew in the Fresco app, and we also did the front chest. So we did 3 different designs and we just swapped the colour of the front chest out. But every time we always use the ultra colour transfers for the neck label. I have dedicated YouTube videos showing how to do the ultra colour transfers, so go and check those out. Then we actually thought of adding a couple of different colourways onto the end, because basically our Stanley Stella rep came round during the print run, so we just threw these in at the end. But this one is really cool. I think it's like desert sand colour, and I actually really love it. It doesn't have to have the crazy contrast in there to make it look good. So I wouldn't do it as a t-shirt again, because we're very much in keeping with our limited edition at Blind Maggot. But I would make that into a hoodie for sure, using this desert sand colour. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. And then, wild card one, we got given this one, which I think is called like aquamarine or pool green or something like that. I have to look it up. But this is like a really shocking bright one, and I think that actually works as well. Potentially more of a front print, but I don't know. Let's see if anything comes of that as well. We just like to throw in shirts at the end of a print run, because sometimes it throws up a different combination that you wouldn't have thought to mock up in Fresco or Illustrator or any of those kind of apps. If you want to get your hands on one of our Blind Maggot shirts, we literally only made 50 of each of the 3 most recent designs in this kind of like Tokyo range. So you'd have to act quick, but you can go to blindmaggot.co.uk and see if you can get one in your size still. I hope you really enjoyed this video. We loved making it, and let me know in the comments any questions or unusual colorways that you think we should be doing, and I'll see you in the next video.